Hi, my name is Naomi and you are very welcome to my science workshop today. I think you're going to like this activity because it's all about the science of bubbles. I love bubbles and I love science. So when you put the two things together, it's got to be really great, right? And today's activity was inspired by a pretty amazing animal called a water spider. These spiders live nearly their whole lives underwater. How can they breathe down there? Well, that's where the bubbles come in, because water spider fill bubbles full of air and then they carry them down under the water with them and then they use the air inside the bubbles to breathe. How clever is that? So to investigate this, let's start by making our own bubble solution. I call this my super duper bubble solution because it has a very special ingredient. So to make your own, you're going to need some water. I have 500 mils of warm water here. And you're going to need some washing up liquid. Try to go for one that doesn't have a very strong scent. The plainer, the better. I have a nice clean dry bowl for mixing. I have a little stirrer for mixing. And I have a teaspoon measure and a tablespoon measure. Want to know the secret ingredient? Well, that's this stuff. Sugar. Let's get started. So first, I'm going to add the sugar to my warm water. So I need to add 2 teaspoons of sugar to the water. 1, 2. There we go. Time to stir. So my first tip when you're making your own bubble solution is anytime you're stirring, stir nice and slowly. So I'm going to do that now. Slow, slow, slow stirring. What I want to do is I want to keep stirring until all the sugar has disappeared. That means it's dissolved into the water, so I'm left with sugary water. I bet you're wondering why we're adding sugar to our bubble solution. Well, it's a very good question, and I'll tell you why. You see, usually when bubbles pop, it's because they dry out quite quickly. And if they dry out too much, then they can't hold their shape and they pop. But when we add sugar to our bubble solution, it stops the bubble drying out as quickly, so they last longer. That's a really good secret ingredient, don't you agree? Okay, so I think all my stirring has worked. All the sugar has disappeared. It's dissolved into the water. So now I have some nice sugary water to make my bubble solution with. So I'm going to carefully pour my sugary water into my nice clean dry bowl. So that's my other tip when you're making your own bubble solution. Make sure the bowls and the measuring spoons and everything that you use are nice and clean and dry. Because if we get any dirt in there, then our bubbles will tend to burst more easily and won't last as long. Okay, so the last ingredient is washing up liquid. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of washing up liquid to my sugary water. One, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, time for some more stirring. And you guessed it, nice and slowly, remember? So I just keep stirring until I have mixed the washing up liquid into my sugary water. nice and slowly. And there we go. Now my last tip when you're making your own bubble solution is once you have it made, leave it sit for 10 to 20 minutes before you use it. And that's just what I'm going to do now. I'll be back. And I'm back. I've left it sitting for about 20 minutes and now I'm going to test it to see if I can make some bubbles from my homemade bubble solution. So you're going to need a bubble wand to test your own bubble solution. If you don't have one like this, that's okay. You could use something twisty and bendy like this pipe cleaner, and you simply just make a circular shape on top, give it a twist, make it as big or as small as you want, and there you go. You've made your own bubble wand. I'm going to try with this one. Bubbles! I think my bubble solution's working pretty well. Now I'm going to see if I can hold one in my hand, because remember, our friend the water spider is able to make bubbles and hold them and carry them down under the water. There's a bubble. Oh, it burst. So how does the water spider do it? How does the water spider hold bubbles and carry them down under the water? Well, if you think about it, my skin and the spider's skin are pretty different, aren't they? My skin is fairly smooth and the spider's skin is much more furry or fluffy or hairy, right? So maybe that's how they do it. And I know just how to investigate that. For this one, you're going to need some gloves or a furry, fluffy mitten or towel. I'm going to try the gloves. Okay, I'm ready. Time to test again. I did it. You see, I'm holding the bubble. So that must be how the water spider does it. The furry, hairy skin on their body is like my glove. So that means they can hold bubbles just like I'm holding one now. And that's how the very clever water spider breathes underwater. It brings a bubble full of air down under the water with it, and when it needs to breathe, it breathes the air from inside the bubble. How clever, oops, it's gone. How clever is that? So thanks so much to the water spider for the wonderful inspiration for this science activity. And remember, you have still got lots of bubble solution left over, so you can do lots more exploring and investigating. I really hope you enjoyed that. Stay curious. Slán!